Hey y'all, it's your girl Lisa Sunshine with Tap In, the Apology Podcast. And I am amazed by this young man who is my next guest. And this kid, for the past 10 years, has been a quiet storm, literally shaking and baking as a youngster at church, on the football field, in the community with his dad, just doing all the things. And it has been a pleasure watching him do his thing, making some dreams come true. So, welcome, Jaylon Glover.
Happy to be here. I appreciate it. That's a nice intro. It's a real nice intro.
Well, it is easy to intro someone who is just so chill, except when you get on the football field.
Right.
That's when you let it all hang out.
Yes, ma'am.
And as I remember, the first encounter was your dad having you guys on stage. Was it Gentleman's Quest? What?
Yes, Gentleman's
Yes,
Quest.
yes.
Yeah, now it's Gentleman's Quest Inc. He done added a little
Okay.
INC to the end
All
of that.
right, all right. You better have a little nonprofit in there
There you
for
go.
sure.
There you go.
And what you guys did on stage was so powerful. How has that upbringing and having your dad as a leader helped you on the football field?
Yeah, just kind of what we were talking about off the podcast. Just those footprints in the sand that your parents instill in you. So when you leave the household, you can take those things. But honestly, being a part of Gentleman's Quest, my dad had took it over, and from the jump, it just seeing how he got other kids to buy into the principles and to the program.
Yeah.
Like him being my dad, if as a son, something my dad could tell me one thing, but if somebody else come and tell me the
Yes.
same, I
Yes.
just receive it a little better.
Yes.
And so like same as with the kids and seeing how they bought in to
Mhm.
everything that we were doing, giving
Yeah.
back to the community, speaking,
Yeah.
all those things have helped me, because I want to be able to instill back into the young kids because that's what he did for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like it gave me a head start to life. It gave me great communication skills. So when it comes time to have those conversations with
Yeah.
coaches, people in the community, I'm not scared. I'm not timid just because we've done it
Yeah.
with little crowds, big
Yeah.
crowds. It
Yeah.
was big for me, and I appreciate him for doing those things.
Right. How close does he try to stay now? You're all the way over in Vegas now.
He's fallen back since Vegas, but when I was in Salt Lake, they were adamant about getting out there. They enjoy Salt Lake, and I was
Yes.
glad for
It's a
them.
beautiful city.
Yeah, the sceneries are crazy,
Oh my gosh,
but
it's
nah, they
beautiful.
they were. I mean, I just appreciate my parents
Yeah.
because a lot of the times, now it comes out of my pocket, but before it was come out of their own pocket just to
Yeah.
come hang out, not even always just to come see a game. So
Right.
he on my hip, but
Yep.
now it's more of a
As
phone
he should
call.
be.
Now it's more of a phone call than seeing them every other
Yeah.
month. But
Mhm.
yeah, man, they both of my parents, mom and dad, just
Yes.
they were real
Wendy is a
adamant.
real gem.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, I was blessed with
Yes.
some good parents.
Yes, and how was it though being an only child? Do you feel any pressure? Has that ever kind of, come up in your thoughts in your
Hmm.
mind like, okay, this is it. You know what I'm saying? I'm the golden
Yeah,
child.
yeah, the lineage depends on me. But I don't know. You watch me grow over my career, even with school. Like
Yeah,
pressure makes diamonds.
for sure.
So it's like that I kind of thrive off that.
Okay.
But like you said, I'm the calm in the storm. I'm not ever gonna get too high or too low, but I understand what comes with what I have to do to be
Mhm.
successful because
Yeah.
they depending on me. They don't press me on it all the time,
Right.
but they've gave me the tools to know like I can be successful. So don't take them for granted. But
Right.
yeah, I don't take it as much as pressure rather than that's something I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be
It's
successful. I'm
yeah,
supposed to,
it's a given.
you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think too hard on it, but I
And
just
that's
know
so
it's.
good. Of course your parents already they have it going on anyway.
Mhm.
And what that means for, someone like you, you're free
Mhm.
from the pressure of, son, get us out of here.
Right.
Son, I want to retire,
Mhm.
or I want to pay off my house, what have you. Your parents don't have that issue and they didn't put that type of pressure on
Right.
you. Um, And so when we go from, Gentleman's Quest to the football field,
Mhm.
that's a totally different domination, you
Definitely.
know. And how what, I've always wanted to ask this question, and it's been a long time. Like I remember asking my brother when I was a little kid, but how do y'all remember all those plays?
Yeah, this definitely because it's something you love and want to do. Just like in school, how you study and remember for the test. Football is
You have to study just like that.
football school. You know, honestly,
Okay.
because all it is repetition.
Okay. Okay.
Repetition, running that. That's how it usually goes. Probably put in a nutshell. There are specific days of the week where we focus on a specific situation in the
Okay.
game. So
Okay.
maybe we come on Tuesday, we got first down mix. And then Wednesday we come and we got third downs. So we got these specific plays and
Okay.
calls for
Okay.
different situations in the game.
Okay.
So instead of just all throwing all maybe 100 plays in one, we'll section it off throughout the week and then we'll bring it together Thursday and Friday to prepare
Okay.
for the game.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's studying just as everywhere. I mean, it gets as levels increase, the
Yeah.
more plays you need to learn. And a lot of things, just the little things about your assignment, because you do your 111, you trust the other guys on the field to do theirs. Well,
Okay.
it's for me as I've grown, I feel like I learn plays better when I know what the other guys on the field are doing as well.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like you got to really study. It is
Right.
no different from school. That's
And listen, you were 4.0 honors
hmm
throughout your entire high school career.
yeah.
So were you just gifted in that way? I mean, I know your dad's an educator.
hmm
Um, and, you know, of course, when you have the right home front,
Right.
you would think that all would be well, but it doesn't work out like that sometimes,
Not all the time, no.
And so maintaining um, honor roll throughout your high school career, and let me look at this number here. Because I said, wait a minute, hold on, what did this kid do? How many touchdowns in your high school career?
I can't even remember, honestly.
Wasn't it like 80?
You're probably right in the ballpark.
Like, huh? Who in the world does that?
Yeah.
And when you talk about balancing, most of us say, there is no balance.
hmm
Life can be lifing, and so you've got to study for, as a college kid, you've got to study as a football player. You've got to study your grades. You got to study community,
hmm
all those things. How much attention do you give or can you give to what's going on, in the rest of the football world? Of course, stats and what this team is doing and what,
hmm
and all that kind of stuff. But how much time can you give to, I mean, it's summertime, right? But Shador Sanders, like, what do you think about Shador?
Uh, give me what do you mean what I think about him? Just as an athlete?
As an athlete, as I mean, he's all over everything.
Yeah.
Like the entire focal point of the 2025 NFL draft.
Yeah.
What in the free world?
Definitely.
Seriously,
I mean, a lot of that comes with, who his father is, along with uh his success in college.
Hmm.
And I feel like even for him, like there you devote a lot of your time to your craft.
Yes.
Now I can't tell you how he was, with his academics and how much time he put into there, but
Hmm.
honestly, it's hard to have a balance when you're trying to be great. It's
Yes.
like you
Yes.
you have to be able to put something in the forefront of your mind and continue to pick at it. Just because that you know what your goals and what you're trying to strive to be. So
Hmm.
if you know you're trying to be a great football player, a part of that, you have to be able to be eligible. So if you're gonna put this amount of effort into football, it might not always equal up to your academics, but it shouldn't be that far behind.
Yeah.
Just due to the fact that you can't just be great in one aspect of your life. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I give kudos to him just for the amount of pressure he has, just because of his last name, along with from every school he went to, it had to be a cultural change.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
to be as in like he's coming to a program that's already been solidified. Like, no,
Not
they're
even
going
close.
they're going to change it.
Yes.
And that's big, man.
Yeah.
I congratulate and give them kudos to their success
Yeah.
because that's it's not easy, but I can tell that they work hard
Right.
and they devote a lot of time to this craft. And I believe the sky's the limit for him as long as he continue to that same trajectory as what he was
Yeah.
doing
Stay healthy.
in his college
Yeah.
career.
One really, really cool thing happened when you were at Utah.
Mm.
Well, a couple things. Okay, several things. Gosh. Um, but during your time at Utah, you had standout moments, and one of them was a 107-yard game against Colorado.
Yeah, that was dope.
How in the world do you build upon that now you're at UNLV?
I personally just I don't feel like I've hit my ceiling at all. That's
Right.
just I feel like I done got my feet wet throughout my career in college. And I'm so excited. That's why the summer is so big for me. I've been coming home and just been grinding because
Yeah,
uh I don't want to do too much work talking. I want my work to show
I
and
appreciate
put it
that.
in the fruits because I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of the time, we can say everything we want to do, but without doing it, put action behind
Mhm.
it. So
Mhm.
I just know how big the summer is, and I done seen that I can perform at a high level.
Right.
And going to Vegas and be able to get a second chance and showing what I can do.
Yeah.
I have no intentions of messing this up at all.
So what happened at Utah? Are you cognizant of what happened because you came out of the chute blasting off and that playtime went down to almost nil.
Mhm.
Are you aware of was there a structural change? Was there a coaching change? What happened that you were not out there doing what you know how to do every game?
Right. Honestly, I would say I don't go in pointing fingers at anyone.
Mhm.
Before I do anything, I looking to myself.
Sure.
And there were quite a few things I could have changed in how I
Okay.
approached uh, the college atmosphere. For as in, you can't think like I tell you, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right. You just said that.
So
Yeah.
how I perform on the football
Mhm.
field is great,
Right.
but then how do they see me once my pads come off? Because a lot
Yes.
of the times it's not even about what you do; it's the persona of what you may
Yeah.
give.
Yeah. Yeah.
They might not even know what you do once you're out of the building, but if they just have a thought of you and
Mhm.
that you maybe showed them one time and maybe never again, but once they sometimes when you're at an organization, like they hold grudges. We don't always
Uh-huh.
hold grudges, but
Yeah.
I'll say that whereas when I came in, I was growing and which growth was needed. But like I said, I've been ready to play since I got there.
Right.
But there was some immaturity in me for as in just how I went about my business,
Okay.
or as in like showing up the lifts on time.
Right.
I'm not ever late to my position meetings, but the
Right.
lifts is a part of what I need to do
Right.
to be there. So
Right.
it's just like I said, I just knew once I got to my new program everything I did at Utah, I would try to transform it and just walk with cleanest slate because I don't want to give anybody a bad perception of me
Right.
to
Right.
where they feel like they can't trust me on the field. Because
Right. Dependability
when
is
you're going
huge.
when in college, all it is trust. Because
Yes.
once you get to that level, you're talented enough to be there.
Sure.
But it's about the trust
How can you
and
maintain that?
how can you maintain it exactly.
Mhm.
So I would say freshman my sophomore year, I was beating down the wall, in which, what I'm saying, like I was some highs and some lows. But some of those things were out of my control.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some of the things that I kind of sit back and reflect, I'd be like, hey, if I was perfect here, even if they would have did me wrong, I couldn't say, hey, they did me wrong because of this. Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So like I said, now it's like I go in and I'm completely about my business a whole different way just because
Right.
of I
Right.
learned and grow.
Which is such a great segue
Mhm.
into the apology gift. The apology gift is all about ownership.
Mhm.
It's about taking ownership of your future despite disappointments, despite being mishandled, despite being, misunderstood even
Mhm.
by people. And they don't come back and make it right, you
No.
know? They don't come back and make it right. They don't come back and even acknowledge their part, you know? And so
That's funny you say that.
You
because it's
know,
true.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's true. Because
This is what we're seeing.
man,
This is what
because
you
it's
experienced.
because sometimes if like I said, if you want ever had a perception of me and we had a relationship,
Yeah.
we nip that in the bud there.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Quick
But
communication.
why are we prolonging it? And I get a
Mm-hmm.
tap on my back when it's time for exit interviews. They keep doing what you're doing. We love how you playing.
Yeah.
Uh, you look like the best throughout this spring.
Yeah.
But a pat me on the back will come season come. My
Right.
minutes are low.
Right.
So
Right.
I must be doing something wrong, but why is that not communicating?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was a lot. The miscommunication there
Yes.
was kind of like the main piece. Cause
That's very hurtful.
yeah, because I'm hearing one thing from my position
Mm-hmm.
coach and another from my head coach. And I'm the guy that I'm real big on communication. Like
Yes.
that was even when I committed there.
Yes.
I'm like, tell me the raw and uncut so I can
Yes.
know how to move. But
Right.
sometimes it's a business bigger than
Yes.
bigger than me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they don't always abide by those same principles that I would think they would. But
Right. And like you said, it's a business.
mhm,
And on top of that, you are a brand as an individual, as a player, you know. And so whether that's on the field or off the field, how did you deal with that disappointment? I mean, week after week after week, that playing time was nil sometimes
yeah,
for weeks at a time. And you're showing up for practice, you're showing up in school, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but nothing is changing.
right.
And so, how do you carry yourself when you're asking the right questions? They are giving you positive feedback, but there is absolutely no change in your playing time on the field. How did you walk through that and still maintain your composure and your brand identity? Um, and I want you to be honest here because everybody goes through this.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if you are in the Big 12, playing collegiate football as an outstanding recruit, or whether you're at work at a Fortune 500 company.
yeah.
Sometimes there is silent retaliation. Sometimes there's just silent mistreatment, or things are just not going well. How do you deal with that level of disappointment and still show up in the brand that you were created to be as that person?
I feel like that's good that you put in the two for like the corporate world along with football because nowadays in college football we getting paid.
Yes.
So just like you got to show up to get that check, I have to do the same. But
Yeah.
honestly, my faith in God was the biggest.
Yes.
Because that sometimes you get the question and like, man, like I'm not that dude. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know, my resume, but a lot of times, even now, like even when I wasn't even able to tell you how many touchdowns I had, because those things are in the past.
Right.
I'm so focused on now and being where my feet are. So where, if I put the work in here, my future is gonna be what I want.
Right.
So I try to not dwell on the things I've already accomplished and to keep
Mm-hmm.
striving for those things.
Yeah.
But honestly though, like I said, like it was those prayers with God. Because
Yeah.
I got to a point where wasn't too much talking to mom and dad,
Right.
families or friends. I got distant.
You got quiet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And those things, and just because of the fact that it's like, wow, like you said, those questions that I'm asking, I don't see the reap. I'm like, I'm
Yes.
going to your office, I'm being heart to heart, but it's
Yes.
like, wow, like y'all are really playing in my face.
Right. Right. Right.
So I I feel like, because there were two instances, especially my junior year, because that was the year that I didn't see much at all.
Right.
And they were just so I had a one bad encounter. It was a game over Utah State. Coming into the week, they were preparing me like, "Hey, be ready, you gonna play." I go through the whole game, helmet on, right by coach. Didn't see the field.
Right.
Usually after every game, we always bring it up, and but it was kind of like a tough game. Like we won, but it was like we should have beat them worse.
Right.
And so we was gonna huddle up, but our band was in the opposite direction because we do our little fight song.
Right. Right.
So the guys took a little longer than usual. I seen my academic advisor, and I got to walking towards the locker room, and the head man seen it, and my parents said they seen it. I was like, no, Jaylon, don't do it. But I was in a dark space. Like
Yes.
I was having trouble really
Yeah.
holding my emotions,
Yes.
and I didn't want to be around them with that negative energy. So
Yes.
I thought I
Yes.
was doing what's best for the team. But honestly though, like it sucks to say that, but like I really have to fake it till I make it in this profession,
Right.
because
Right.
when you show too much emotions, they take it for weakness. And it's
Yes.
like it's that was challenging for me because
Right.
like, I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
For me it's like you can tell when I'm up or you can tell when I'm
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm-hmm.
But I really after that game I really had a focus on like, man, I need God because
Yeah.
this is hard,
Right.
because
Yeah.
this is fact because I know I come and invest my butt every day. I work
Yes.
harder than a lot of individuals that see in this field,
Right.
but it's just something the odds is against me. So once I got locked back in, my biggest thing was getting my team back. Mom, dad, also had a
Yes.
manager.
Yes.
And once I got the team back and we communicating, I kind of seen it a little lighter. Like even though the play was still scarce,
Yes.
my energy and my vibe was a
Right.
whole lot better.
Right.
And
Had to do a reset.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things at the end of the season last year, we had a game versus UCF, but
Yeah.
I ended up redshirting. Me and the head coach, we kind of came to agreement because,
Sure.
we at the end of the year, he told me that I went and asked for a red shirt because I was kind of seeing how they were going.
Sure.
Played 3 games, 4 carries, and each game I played,
Right.
I was averaging over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So I was productive with what I had. But he
Right.
told me that he needed me, and I had questioned him like, "How you need me, coach?" And I only played 3 games all
Right.
year.
Yeah.
And so he told me if I wanted a red shirt, it'd basically be like quitting the team. So if I did that, he would dismiss me.
Right.
So he did. And so they came here, Orlando, for the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Paid for my own ticket and I showed up.
Yeah.
And got on the phone with one of my GAs at the time, one of the coaches there. He was like, "Man, we had a lot of respect for you for doing that. A
Yeah.
lot of guys would have did that."
Right.
But I just had so much love for my teammates,
Sure. Yeah.
and so that's what kept me going.
Right. Right.
Even at the point of, at that point where I wasn't playing, like they were
Right.
still on me, like they were like, "Bro, I don't know how you in this situation. I don't know how you continue to act that you acting, bro. But if it
Yeah.
was me, I'd have been crashed out. I would have been said something to coach, but I don't know. I just felt
Yeah.
like that was a season that I needed.
Yeah.
I don't know why yet, but
Right.
when I do, I just know it's gonna be a bigger purpose at the end."
Well, I mean, you're walking in it
Mhm.
to, be picked up by UNLV in such a really, really cool fashion.
Mhm.
They were celebrating you big time and receiving you with open arms.
For sure.
I was telling, Todd and Wendy, I was like, we're getting on the plane. We're gonna have our own plane. We're
I'm
going to
telling you.
Vegas.
I'm telling you, you ain't send the
You-
PJ back home.
right? I was like, I said, you want him to be where he's appreciated. But when we go through seasons, Jaylon, of testing, and we cannot bring the lessons with us, you're going to see that test again.
Mhm.
And when you go through what you just experienced, it's very humbling,
Uh,
and you're talking about having a reset. Okay, let me get back to God.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I know NFL players, I've coached them. And if their behavior, if their personality, if their branding was such as yours, they would probably still be in the NFL. But because they were hotheads, because they didn't manage their money, because they thought more highly of themselves than some of their teammates who were better, they're missing out. And so I want to applaud you for getting back to your center and understanding how powerful it is to decide I'm going to be amazing no matter what.
Mhm.
It won't be on this team. It won't be on this team, but wherever I go, the gifts go with me,
Yeah.
you know? And so to have that assurance and to be able to have parents that you've spoken so highly of to go back and say, okay, y'all, I gotta walk about this depression or whatever it is. I know you got my back.
Mhm.
Where do I go from here? What does that look like? And to be at UNLV and for those folks to be so excited to have you there, what lessons are you taking with you on this trip? this season?
Mhm. I want to come to UNLV with as they're sending me with open arms, like I want to be an extension to my guys because I've realized how sometimes you take for granted your team,
Yeah, yeah,
and then like, when I was down,
yeah,
like my team is what helped me stay sane.
yeah. The unity
Um,
there.
so I that for sure. Also, the vocal and the leadership that I know I have in me.
Right.
But like you said, I'm kind of like I'm the chill. Like I want to lead by
Yeah. And
example.
as an
But
only child,
mm,
you gotta find that space, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. So it's like, but when I went there, one thing they said, what is like my strength coach told me, he was like, what is lead by example? Like he asked me that in our
Mm-hmm.
leadership meeting.
Mm-hmm.
He said, personally to me, I don't believe in that because leading by example is doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he said, out to be a leader, you have to be able to outreach and get to different individuals that aren't like you. Like you have to come and meet
Mm.
them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like I want to. It's character development,
For
and I feel
sure.
like I could continue to grow with that. But like I said earlier, I don't want to bring none of the mess that I had in Utah for as in that I needed to clean up,
Yeah.
showing up late
Yeah.
or not being as my vibe. Because sometimes I feel like I came in as a different person because I like to bring like my emotions from outside
Uh-huh.
in the building,
Okay.
which you don't do that.
Compartmentalize
That's
that.
a no no,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like those things were big for me because, like I said, once I'm on the field,
Right.
like we don't
Yeah.
have problems. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it was just the little things that I can bring and help to the other guys in my room,
Yes.
just bringing them with me. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what I can bring there that I didn't have at Utah because Utah was a little standoffish.
Yeah.
I'm going to work. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, but
Right.
I didn't bring guys with me like I should.
Okay.
And that's what I'm planning to do
Because you're a leader.
here.
You're a natural leader.
Hmm.
But sometimes young leaders don't get grace. And so when it's time for you to come up and elevate, they have that finger pointed like this is what we're expecting.
Hmm.
And when you don't get there, ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
Oh man. And so you're judged more harshly. And so as we talk about, you know, elevation, NIL, honey, has changed the game. So real quick, because we're getting ready to finish up. Real quick, I got three quick questions, and
All
I want
right.
you to give me three quick answers, okay? Y'all
Ah,
get ready, okay? What did you buy with your first NIL check?
my first NIL check, I got a chain. I definitely got a chain. That was my first little
Okay,
splurge.
okay. Question 1B. Would you buy that same chain again if you were given that check today?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Just to the fact, like I said, it don't. Once you get it, it don't hold you no value besides
Right.
what you have. And now that I know what I know, it's
Yeah.
like if I'm gonna spend my money, I need to get some type of
ROI.
you feel me, some type of return. Because there's some things that I bought that I done lost,
Yes.
and there's some things that I bought that I don't get no pleasure out because it's either
Just
sitting,
gone.
yeah.
Just
So
gone. Just
the
gone.
money gone, man.
Yes. Just
But
gone.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm, I'm beginning to get smarter. I ain't perfect, but
Right. Right.
I don't make those same expenditures as I used to. But if
Yeah.
I do make expenses, like I done been preparing for that.
And there's expenditures, and then there's just fun money. You
Hmm.
give yourself, uh, you give yourself an allowance.
All right.
You know what I mean? And what does that look like? So, okay. So, question two,
Hmm.
to the young kid, to that high school junior, that high school senior, who's just as outstanding as you are, and looking to 27 colleges that have, been picking at them, and we want you, we want you, we want.
All right.
What would you tell them?
So now it's a new day and age.
Yes,
So
and you
it's
ain't been out of school long.
right, but as every year is
Yes,
turning around. So now
yes,
these kids are hey, we got X amount of dollars waiting on you if you come to our university.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would tell I would tell the young kid, that's you you are who they want. You know what I'm saying? You are the prize. You are the recruit that's done put the work for them to come and want to give you a full ride scholarship along with some monies.
Right.
I would say your parents, your parents are going to tell you where you should go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whoever that person you look up to, that person that you feel like will give you good advice,
Yeah. Yeah.
keep them in your corner
Yeah.
because honestly, it's overwhelming just
Yes.
for the fact that if you going about this by yourself and you just don't just try to go pick your favorite school, but
Right.
go pick the school that you believe that's going to be the best fit for you
Yeah.
and your game.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, because like I said, all coaches are just car salesmen.
Yes.
Like they gonna sell you the best
Yes.
dream. You're gonna play both ways. We're gonna give you
Oh,
this everything you
yeah.
want.
You're gonna be Travis.
Yeah, like so it has to come to a point where you gotta understand the real from the fake. And
Yes.
that just comes with discernment. Whoever you believe in, you
Having
might
the
not,
right people in your
yeah,
corner.
you know what I'm saying? Like it has to be bigger than you. And you have to understand, like, for me, when I want to go to a university and that I wanted to graduate from.
Yes.
But those things changed.
Yes.
But
Yes. Yes.
I would say as a young kid, plan to stick it out. Like if you're going to a program, go to a program where you feel like you can go get your degree, also have the best chances of going to the NFL.
Right.
But most importantly, think about when you go on these visits and you know who you're around. Think about the community around you because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the people that you might think that those fans in the stands, once you put that football down, they could be the ones that's helping you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a lot to go into it, but all I would say is, just have a true spirit of discernment of where you want to go, and ask the right questions.
Right.
Ask
Right.
the players that's there because they're gonna keep it real with you.
Right. For sure.
Not don't just go and try to hear the most words from the coach. Like
Yeah.
go to that player that might not be first or second string.
Right. Right.
That's gonna tell you
How
the
they
real.
treating him.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Because
That
those
speaks
things are important.
volumes.
Those
Yeah.
things are important
Right.
because you want to go somewhere that cares about all their athletes, not just a
That's
few of
so
them.
true. So when Jalen's off camera and the crowd is gone,
Hmm.
how do you find joy after a loss?
I'm big on like I play the game, so like that'd be my decompressor too. Like get on the game because like I said, I love home. It's like wherever I'm at, I make home home.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when I'm there, cool. But yeah, I'm definitely a gamer, and then once I get out of that, have my few
Mm-hmm.
hours on that,
Yeah.
I'm more of just a breath of fresh air. Like I just need to get out the house,
Yes.
just clear my mind.
Right.
Um, and then I'll go into watching the film. Like I don't immediately watch film
Okay.
after a loss
Okay.
because that just it give me I'm already amped up. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I don't need to be half watching film.
Right.
I need to
Right.
really be into it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I try to do that, and like I said, once I decompress, I go watching the film and look at the corrections that
Yeah.
need to be made.
And lastly, Jaylon, you've carried this football thousands of times. I mean, from a little kid to now, you have definitely placed yourself in a situation where NFL prospects, they got their eyes on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
how do you carry what your parents put in you? How do you carry what they've instilled in you onto the field so that on the field, off the field, in the classroom, what would be the legendary thing you could leave that has everything to do with you and everything your parents have instilled in you?
I would say faith and along with being humble. I mean, if I can put that in a nutshell,
Mhm.
because one thing my dad always told me, he was like, "There's somebody out there working as hard as you,
Mhm.
and seeing the worst struggles, same struggles as you,
Yeah.
and they out here that they want your spot."
Right.
And
You
so
know that.
even when when times get hard, or when I'm on the top and I'm the pinnacle,
Yeah.
I never, like I tell you, like I don't never think I'm bigger than the world. I always
Right.
stay neutral, just for the fact that this can all go away,
That's right.
or this they can stay here. But how am I going to react when I'm here? When
Right.
I'm at the top.
Right.
And then, but I just feel like that all goes into my faith in God. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Just because it's bigger than me.
Right. Right.
And I feel like the most successful players keep their why on them at
That's
all
so
times.
good. Yeah.
And I feel like, if you really are intrigued and know your why, the grind, how hard you work, how
Yeah.
hard you play, all that is gonna be in the back of your head, because in the forefront of your mind, you know why you're doing the things you
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
You know why you go through all this pain and sacrifice
Yeah.
and all the
The
fun.
maturity piece is so
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, all that
Yes.
you gotta
Character
understand
development.
that fun. All of that comes together because you know what you're doing it for. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said, this slot of the game is so small, so you gotta try to do the most as you can, because once it's done, it's over. Ain't no coming back.
Right. And my last question, if the NFL went away today,
Mhm.
what would be your career?
That is a great question. I've been asked that quite a bit recently. I'm really up in the air, as in like career choice. I know I would love to give back, and kind of, not in a nutshell, like when my pops are done, but GQ is like something I would really be intrigued into, like
Mm-hmm.
making them bigger nonprofit
Yeah.
organizations, just for the
National
fact.
nonprofit.
Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
because of what he really instilled in these young men. And just like for me, like I don't believe I can be over here and have eye contact and be able to speak to you how I
You do
can,
that so well. Yeah.
because I've learned and
Mm-hmm.
instilled. And now, one, I did have to do it at home, and he had me doing the craziest things to make sure I was,
Yes.
able to know, because he didn't know what my future was gonna be,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
he felt like I needed those qualities, because now I'm in front of a camera, I'm on a
Yes.
microphone, I
Yes.
can enunciate my words, and
Right.
not only with just being able to speak, just the principles of being a man, like
Yes.
how to treat women,
Yes.
being respectful to men and women.
Right.
I would love to be able to give and give back to
Mm-hmm.
young boys, because that really helped me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And as many young men as I can save, I would
Yes.
love to, because
Yeah.
I seen my pops do it.
Yes.
And
Yes. And I'm sure you have teammates that could have used that training.
for sure, quite a few. I know some right now.
Yes. Well, I am so grateful that you took some time out
Yes,
of your
man.
training schedule and interview schedules and trying to vacation schedules and all of that
Yeah.
to be on my podcast.
Yes,
And
ma'am. No
we pray
problem.
nothing but the best for you.
I appreciate you so much.
And
This was nice.
we pray for you. You know, we're gonna be at those games. We're gonna be cheering you on and cheering for your coaches and praying for them too,
Yeah.
because their minds need to be right so they can treat you right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in. This has been, of course, a big, big, big hug for me to have this young man, Jaylon, on with us so that we can get some insight. And now y'all know how to pray and y'all know to follow. Y'all see my little nod to UNLV, right?
Yeah,
Y'all
she
see
got it
y'all my
on
red
today.
flag?
She got it on today.
Because support is not just talk, it's showing up, it's all the things. So thanks for tuning in to the Apology Podcast, and we'll see you next time.